Welcome to the lecture Game Design and Game Development. Now we will take a look at what is behind the term game mechanics. To make it easier to find the relevant information later, we see the list of content here. Let's start by understanding what we mean by game mechanics. Game mechanics are the foundational rules and systems that dictate how players engage with a game world. They shape the overall gameplay experience, influencing the challenges, rewards, and progression paths available to players. Game mechanics are the foundation of every game and directly influence both player enjoyment and strategic possibilities. I have tried to formulate 6 core categories for you. Here we provide a structured overview of core game mechanics categorized into 6 key areas, highlighting their significance in creating immersive and engaging gaming experiences. The mechanic categories include time setting, confrontation and mission, scenarios and resource, role and object, communication and social, as well as numerical and balance mechanics. We will take a brief look at each of these core categories. Time setting mechanics define how time progresses in a game, influencing gameplay elements like events, enemy behavior, and player actions. Common implementations include day-night cycles, real-time clocks, and countdown timers. Some games use accelerated time to simulate realistic progression, while others rely on event-triggered time shifts. For example, in survival games, nighttime often increases difficulty by spawning stronger enemies, while in simulation games, time governs the growth of resources and character interactions. Minecraft has a day-night cycle of 20 minutes, 10 minutes of day and 10 minutes of night. Dangerous enemies spawn at night, forcing players to build and plan. Some mechanics, such as villages, redstone, or plant growth, react to the cycle. In Animal Crossing, the game world runs in real time according to the system clock with day and night, seasons and holidays. Characters behave differently depending on the time of day. Stores have opening hours. Time travel is possible by changing the system clock, often with advantages and disadvantages. There is a countdown timer in Legend of Zelda. The game has a 72-hour cycle that lasts approximately 54 minutes in real time, after which the moon crashes into the world. The player must use time travel to restart the cycle in order to maintain progress. Tension through constant time pressure and planning is present here. Confrontation mechanics dictate how players engage in combat or competitive scenarios. These can be turn-based, real-time, or time-limited engagements. Matchmaking mechanics determine the composition of player versus player and player versus environment interactions involving human players or AI-controlled bots. In XCOM, Enemy Unknown, battles are turn-based. Each player or enemy unit performs certain actions per round, for example moving, attacking, using abilities, etc. Positioning, cover, and order are decisive. Tension is created by the risk of permanent losses in the event of a bad move. Real-time combat with a focus on quick reactions can be found in Devil May Cry 5 with stylish combos and weapon changes. Players combine attacks into long, uninterrupted chains, so-called stylish ranks. Enemies appear in groups, and the combat system rewards creative play. The game Dead Rising has a continuous real-time time pressure. Missions and story events have fixed time slots. The player has to make decisions about which tasks to pursue, often under stress. The time pressure increases the replay value and gives the game a special dynamic. Mission mechanics define the conditions for triggering, completing, and rewarding objectives. Missions may involve tasks such as exploration, combat, collection, or dialogue interactions, often driving the narrative and structuring player progress. Dynamic mission conditions, such as branching objectives, can provide varying levels of challenge and replayability. We can also categorize the 4 examples of mission mechanics by engagement and interaction, which soon brings us to the topic of player types. Knowing and understanding your customers is very important, and not just in game development. Only then can we successfully bring a product to market. In the game The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, players discover the world freely, often without exact signposts or markers. Many missions result from chance encounters, environmental details, or experimenting with physics. The exploration itself is part of the challenge and reward. Collecting Pokémon in the game of the same name is the core mechanic. Players search for, catch, trade, and train hundreds of creatures. Each Pokémon has its own abilities, stats, and rarity. The Pokédex serves as a collection and progress indicator. In the game Overwatch, players are automatically matched with other players, depending on their skills, role, and mode. The battles are in real time, with a focus on team play and hero skills. It is fast and competitive, with balancing through a matchmaking system. In Mass Effect, conversations with NPCs take place via branching dialogue trees. Answers influence character relationships, story progression, missions, and even the ending. Moral decisions often lead to long-term consequences. Scenarios define the structural framework of the game world, including maps, levels, and coordinate-based positioning. Some games feature open environments with unrestricted movement, while others use constrained pathways. The game Super Mario Odyssey consists of many open, thematically different kingdoms, which function like levels. Each level has its own rules, environments, enemies, and secrets, motivating players to explore and revisit. In Minecraft, the entire game world is based on a three-dimensional coordinate system. Players use coordinates to navigate, build, and find resources. Many mechanics use precise positioning. Resource mechanics manage production rates, consumption levels, and regional constraints on acquiring materials. These systems require players to balance resource gathering, spending, and conservation to maintain progress. For example, strategy games often include resource scarcity mechanics to encourage careful planning and competition. In Factorio, players build factories that automatically mine, process, and transport raw materials. Production rates must be optimized to avoid bottlenecks. Advanced systems include assembly lines, robots, energy supply, and much more. The game Oxygen Not Included is a colony simulator in which food, oxygen, water, and energy are constantly consumed. Resource management is crucial, as overproduction or shortages can be fatal. Players must balance systems to ensure survival. The world map in Civilization VI consists of fields with different characteristics: mountains, rivers, deserts, etc. The construction of certain districts, wonders, or improvements depends on the region. The optimal use of terrain is crucial for strategic success. Role mechanics encompass the fundamental actions players can perform, including movements and interactions. Movements refer to the ways in which a character navigates the environment, such as walking, jumping, or dodging, while interactions involve engaging with other players, objects, or systems, like opening doors, picking up items, or triggering events. In Mirror's Edge, the player takes on the role of Faith, a runner who moves through a futuristic city, using only free body movement, running, jumping, climbing, wall running. The camera remains in the first-person perspective, which makes the movement feel particularly immersive and physical. The VR game Half-Life Alyx allows you to grab, pull, throw, and rotate objects directly with your hands. Many puzzles and battles depend on how you interact with the environment, for example, by moving cover or magnetically pulling objects towards you. Particularly precise interactions thanks to VR controls. Character mechanics detail attributes such as health and stamina, attack power and defense, and agility, as well as elemental affinities. Health and stamina determine a character's endurance and ability to perform actions over time. Attack power and defense influence how much damage is dealt or resisted in combat. Agility affects movement speed, evasion, and reaction time. And elemental affinities define strengths or weaknesses against specific elemental forces like fire, ice, or lightning. In The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the main character Link has 2 resource bars. Hearts indicate health points, decreasing when damaged by enemies. Falls environmental hazards, and a stamina ring, which is used up when running, climbing, gliding, swimming. Both can be permanently increased through items, shrines, or special quests. Good resource management is crucial, especially in open vertical areas. In Monster Hunter World, weapons have individual attack values, sharpness levels, and elemental damage. Defense is determined by the armor worn, which also provides bonuses against certain monsters or elements. Players have to adapt their equipment specifically, for example, high defense against a dragon with fire attacks. Buffs, potions, and dodging behavior also have a massive influence on the course of the battle. Characters such as Riku or Tidus have high agility in Final Fantasy X, which determines how often they can act. Each character can access elemental spells and weapons with affinities. Enemies have clear weaknesses, which requires strategic thinking and switching abilities or spells. Especially in boss battles, the right element selection and agility are crucial. Social mechanics facilitate player interactions and community building features, including chat systems as well as friendships and marriages. Chat systems enable real-time communication, coordination, and social bonding among players, while friendship and marriage systems often provide gameplay benefits such as shared resources, cooperative abilities, or special quests, and foster long-term player engagement and connection. Comprehensive text and voice chat functions can be found in Final Fantasy XIV Online. Players coordinate raids, dungeons, events, or simply social gatherings. Many also use the chat for role-playing and community building. Players can become friends, join guilds, and experience content together. The game features an official, eternal bonding system with a ceremony, cosmetic rewards, and a shared teleport spell. Partnerships give practical benefits such as shared housing and traveling together. In the game Stardew Valley, you can build relationships with villagers, give gifts, and unlock heart events. You can get married, live together with your partner, and even have children. Marriages bring playful advantages such as daily gifts, help on the farm, and special dialogues. In co-op mode, up to 4 players can farm together. There is an in-game chat system for real-time communication, joint planning, and social interaction. In Diablo 4, for example, abilities cause 350 damage per hit, regardless of the enemy's behavior. Equipment has fixed basic values such as plus 12 strength or plus 45 armor. Items or skills add plus 20% fire damage or reduce damage taken by 15%. Buffs, debuffs, and scaling work by multiplying or adding based on percentages. Players combine equipment specifically to achieve certain builds with high efficiency. In the game XCOM 2, each attack has a percentage hit probability. Critical hits have a separate chance of increased damage. Cover, height advantage, and line of sight influence the probability, but never with absolute certainty. Even with a 95% chance, a shot can miss, which requires strategic planning under uncertainty. The game creates tension through uncertainty. Success depends not only on the plan, but also on chance. Players learn to calculate with risk and keep alternative options ready. After listening carefully to this lecture, answering the following comprehension question should help you to summarize the most important statements again on your own.